All right, happy Tuesday, everyone. We have a lot to talk about today. First thing we're going to get into is your prices are going to go up, and we're going to talk about why. I will give you until I'm done with my little rundown here to guess why. But leave a comment what you think right now. Leave a comment why our prices are about to go up, why your prices are about to go up. Leave a comment. So, along with that, we are going to talk about a trans ban in sports, women's sports bill that just got blocked in Congress. And we're also going to be talking about how Republicans just straight up lied to you about certain provisions that were supposed to be in the budget bill that we've been talking about the last couple of weeks that passed the House recently. So, without further ado, what did you guess? I hope it was tariffs, because guess what? It was tariffs. Yeah. Shocker. So, for realsies this time, I hear. For realsies. From the AP, Trump says 25% tariffs on Mexican and Canadian imports will start Tuesday with no room for delay. I have some highlights here because we're also going to go over the executive order itself from whitehouse.gov. We're going to talk to our favorite MAGA consultant, ChatGPT, about the impacts of these tariffs. If you don't know why we talk to ChatGPT for this stuff, it's because ChatGPT, if it has any bias, it would be a right-wing bias. That is because it is owned by the people involved in Project Stargate, which was signed by Trump in his first couple of weeks of office. Anyways, I like to use their tool to disprove their own claims. And then we're going to just a little dessert for you at the end. Stick around for that. I won't spoil it right now. It's just a good cherry on top for all this we're dealing with right now in relations to tariffing everyone in sight. So, President Donald Trump said Monday that 25% taxes on imports from Mexico and Canada would start Tuesday, sparking renewed fears as a North American, I almost said Korean, Jesus, trade war that already showed signs of pushing up inflation and hindering growth. So, Trump had said the tariffs are to force the two U.S. neighbors to step up their fight against fentanyl trafficking and stop illegal immigration. But Trump has also indicated that he wants to eliminate the America's trade imbalances as well as push more factories to relocate in the United States. His comments quickly rattled the U.S. stock market, with the S&P 500 index down 2% on Monday after trading. It's a sign of political and economic risks that Trump feels compelled to take, given the possibility of higher inflation and the possible demise of a decade-long trade partnership with Mexico and Canada as the tariffs would go into effect at 12:01 a.m. Tuesday. Trump provided a one-month delay in February as both Mexico and Canada promised concessions. But Trump said Monday that there was no room left for Mexico or for Canada to avoid the steep new tariffs, which were also set to tax Canadian energy products such as oil and electricity at a lower 10% rate. And we've already kind of seen that a lot of states and it just basically along our northern grid, I think it might be northwest, maybe northeast, are very reliant on Canadian energy. And Canada's going to hit them hard. I don't know what you want me to say, but they're going to hit them hard, and we deserve it for what we are doing. Because if you remember, a month ago, we were supposed to have these same tariffs, but, a day, like 24 hours later, Trump was like, no, never mind. We got some concessions out of Mexico and Canada. Mexico's going to send like 10,000 troops to the border to help with illegal immigration, and Canada has this new fentanyl czar, and they're also going to deploy some troops and upgrade their border security. So it was all well and good. And it was stated it would be delayed a month or, to where we are now. And we're here. And Trump's going to move forward with the tariffs. So that means this whole facade of using tariffs as a negotiating tactic, that's just wrong. Or you're just that stupid, okay? Now we set the precedent that it doesn't matter if you concede and give concessions, do exactly what we want you to do. It doesn't matter because you're going to tariff us a month later anyways. So there goes that, that negotiation tactic. And it was ridiculous to begin with, okay? Let's be clear. So because of the tariffs imposed by the U.S., Americans will pay more for groceries, gas, and cars, and potentially lose thousands of jobs, he said. Tariffs will disrupt an incredibly successful trading relationship. They will violate the very trade agreement that was negotiated by President Trump in his last term. So I haven't talked about this, but I've seen it talked about. I actually seen it on Jon Stewart first. If you're a Jon Stewart fan, you're going to know what I'm talking about. But this trade deal with Canada and Mexico that Trump's been just rambling about since he got in office, and, even during the election, that whole thing was negotiated by Donald Trump in his first term. He's saying this is the worst trade deal in history when he's the one that did it. You can't make this up. Like, the way this guy can just override reality is crazy. It's insane. Trudeau said his country will retaliate by putting 25% tariffs on American goods worth 155 billion Canadian, 107 billion US over the course of 21 days, starting with tariffs on 30 billion Canadian, 21 billion after midnight Tuesday. And then both countries have tried to show, as we just talked about, in action in response to Trump's concerns. Mexico sent 10,000 National Guard troops to their shared border to crack down on drug trafficking and illegal immigration. Canada named a fentanyl czar, as we talked about, even though smuggling of the drug from Canada into the United States appears to be relatively modest. Yeah, you can look up the numbers yourself. There's not much coming from Canada. There is a lot coming from Mexico. Don't quote me on this, because I unlike Republicans, I don't go around just stating stating things like they're fact. I think that most fentanyl, even though it comes from Mexico and China or whatever, most of it's brought here by U.S. citizens. I feel like that's a failure on our part as border security and all that, but that's just my 2 cents. Anyways, yeah, so as I said, our threats mean nothing. This whole negotiation tactic thing it was never a thing, and it wasn't going to work before, and it's definitely not going to work now, because you just set a precedent that even if you do as we ask, we're still going to tariff you. I didn't cover this or anything, but I just read a couple of days ago that Canada just busted a major fentanyl lab, the biggest that ever existed in the country. So they're doing stuff, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to them. But companies ranging from Ford to Walmart have warned about the negative impact that tariffs could create for their businesses. Multiple analysis by the Peterson Institute for International Economics and the Yale University Budget Lab suggests that an average family could face increases of more than $1,000. It's going to have a very disruptive effect on businesses in terms of their supply chains, as well as their ability to conduct their business operations effectively, said Eswar Prasad. Does everyone just have to have a weird name that I can't pronounce? An economist at Cornell University. There are going to be inflationary impacts that are going to be disruptive impacts. And that's true, because if you don't know what a tariff is, it's something that traditionally you use a tariff to put a tariff on a good that you want to raise the prices of domestically, so that consumers are they're encouraged to buy the cheaper American-made product. So the whole point of a tariff is to increase prices domestically. Okay, it's not like these businesses just eat the prices and say, "Yeah, we'll take the profit loss. Yeah, whatever." There's not some imaginary tax that only the country sending the goods pays. None of this exists. The people who pay the tax are the consumers, you and me. So expect your prices to go up as a result of that. But before we get to just an overview by our good mega consultant ChatGPT, let's look at I'm going to go over the fact sheet. And this is the most wild. It's not the most wild, but it's one of the most wild things I've read on whitehouse.gov. They seem to top it every week with something. So this is one of their fact sheets. President Donald J. Trump proceeds with tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico. Safeguarding the nation, President Donald Trump is proceeding with implementing tariffs on Canada and Mexico under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to combat the extraordinary threat to the U.S. national security, including our public health, posed by unchecked drug trafficking. While Trump gave both Canada and Mexico ample opportunity to curb the dangerous cartel level activity and influx of lethal drugs flowing into our country, they have failed to adequately address the situation. Homie, it's been like a month. It's been a month. That's not even enough time to gather like proper data and trends of the actions that they just took to reduce this stuff and the actions that you've taken. Like, are you kidding me? That is absurd. We gave Canada and Mexico ample opportunity. What are you talking about? So, and then it just kind of goes here and it just gives you a bullet point of how awful the Mexican government is and how they are giving safe havens to cartels. You can read through all that. I'm not going to read through all that. It's a lot. The alliance with the Mexican government endangers the national security of the United States, and we must eradicate the influence of these dangerous cartels. We know that drone strikes on Mexican cartels in Mexico are coming. That's a given. It's been pretty much confirmed by the Trump administration, so that's fun. It's crazy, and this is just all wording to just, sell their narrative and fearmonger so that they can do whatever they want. It just goes about some of Canada's stuff. They maintain robust super labs, which we just talked about. They literally just shut one down, so it's not like they aren't trying. And like I said, it's been a month, homie. It's been a month since you put the first demands on them, and you act like that's ample time to just completely eliminate the problem. Are you mad? Oh my God. And then this is one of my favorite things. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but he has a whole section dedicated. Here you can see it. Biden administration's policies fueled the worst border crisis in U.S. history. He has a whole section just absolutely shitting on the Biden administration. Like, is this... Did other presidents do this? Like, is this just a normal thing on a government website to just openly spread lies and slander the previous administration? Is that a thing? Like, but Joe Biden lives rent free in this man's head to the point where it's like, wow, dude, you're pathetic. Like, imagine Joe Biden living in your head rent free like it does to this man. It's crazy. Yeah, that's just a little side rant. Let's look at ChatGPT. So I asked, can you give a brief overview of the impacts to the average American consumer if we put 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada? If the U.S. were to impose 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada, it would have significant economic consequences for the average American consumer. Here's a brief overview of the key impacts. Higher prices on everyday goods, vehicle and auto parts. A large percentage of U.S. auto imports come from Mexico and Canada. Tariffs would increase vehicle prices, new and used, and repair costs due to more expensive parts. Food and groceries. Mexico is a major supply of fruits, vegetables, meat, and beer. Higher tariffs would mean increased food prices, especially for items like avocados, tomato, beef, and tequila. Electronics and appliances. Many consumer electronics, including TVs and refrigerators, are assembled in Mexico. Tariffs would drive up costs. Inflation and cost of living increase. Higher import costs would be passed to consumers, leading to a broader inflationary pressure, meaning everyday living expenses would rise. Supply chain disruptions. Many U.S. businesses rely on North American supply chains. Tariffs could disrupt these, leading to delays in product availability and higher costs. Job losses in certain sectors. While some U.S. industries may benefit, domestic manufacturers, others, especially retail, agriculture, and auto industries, could shed jobs due to rising costs and declining sales. Farmers could be hit hard, as Mexico and Canada may retaliate with their own tariffs, making it harder to sell U.S. agricultural products abroad. Potential recessionary pressures. If trade wars escalate, U.S. economic growth could slow, affecting jobs, wages, and overall economic stability. Bottom line, for the average American, everyday items would cost more, jobs could be affected, and economic uncertainty would rise. While tariffs might aim to boost domestic manufacturing, they would likely hurt consumers through the higher costs and inflation. And I've said this a million times, I'll say it again. I'm not against tariffs. I am against stupid tariffs. For a lot of this stuff, we cannot produce it domestically. We do not meet the demand, okay? If you want to set up some legislation, bills, just whatever, just take steps towards incentivizing that manufacturing to come back to the US through subsidies, grants, things that actually work, then do that. Or if you're going to tariff, like, you can't just throw tariffs on things and expect a new factory to open up down the street in a week. Okay? That takes years to set up. And in the meantime, guess what? Guess who has to pay the price? You and me. Insane. It's so stupid. I can't with these tariffs. Like, tariffs are good if you do them strategically. Like, it's crazy. I just want to give you one last little nugget here. I'm just going to read the headline. And while we're tariffing the ever-living hell out of our allies, from the European Union to Canada to Mexico, Taiwan, you name it, the White House seeks plan for possible Russian sanctions relief. I've already spoke a lot in this video, so I'm not going to go into that, but I'll just leave that for you to ponder on. I can't, man. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below, and if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.